Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I had a terrible day in natural gas today. The EIA report has come negative. I always look into this graph before determining whether the EIA report sounds positive or negative, and also at the same time I compare the futures in data that I see in futures for the next month rollover. We see at 337 a there's a kind of right over here 337 there was a kind of resistance over there, and just after the year report was published, we could see here at 9:05 when the report was published. Okay, exactly around here, that was a kind of this particular, there was a drop, immediate drop at 9:05. Okay, so that indicated like the year report has been negative, and that is conclusive just because we see the present inventory level is rising above the 5 years average and as well as the last year average. Yeah, so that is a negative indicator, and at the same time I don't expect see I don't expect natural gas to sustain around these levels are extremely high again. The top should have been approximately around $4.2, and I believe that should be the cap for February futures. I don't think, unless until the export volume is rising, there is no reason. Yeah, I'm not trading in natural gas for the time being. I have shifted to crude oil because in crude oil I see huge momentum. Right now I have entered crude oil. I have bought around 50 quantities, and yeah, I entered at around this level. Whatever the losses I endured today, right, is close to 5.34 lakhs. So this is going to be this is not a kind of a revenge trade or anything like that. I don't want to use the word revenge. It is just like a logical thing over here. The reason I took this trade is because right now there was a talk from Zelensky a while ago. The Zelensky has declared that US, Russia, and Ukraine is going to have a peace talk in the UAE on 23rd and 24th of January. So that's tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So if the peace talks are successful, which is very high likely, considering there has never been a tri-nations meet before. At the same time, if Russia comes on board to the table, then whatever the retaliation like US is planning, like the Iran US conflict, that's what's happening right now. So that is likely to be discussed. Maybe a diplomatic solution is likely to come over there. So there is a very high possibility of that as well. So in like just say they have a Hindi proverb like ek tir se do nisana. That's a proverb. So that's like you are targeting for two objectives in one go. So that is the kind of thing I believe is can be foreseen, considering a tri nations meet. Ukraine conflict, if it ends, then definitely that is going to have a free market for the Russian oil. So what are the restrictions, what are the sanctions they have imposed right now? So that was already in the proposal that was discussed with Russia, I think a few weeks back. Yeah, a few weeks back. So that is one of the reasons I see that if Ukraine Russia conflict ends, then whatever the Russian export was happening, that will get a boost. At the same time, whatever the attacks on the energy infrastructure was happening, so that will also stop. It's a very positive news. At the same time, whatever the Iranian oil was getting exported, so that will also continue without. So whatever the fear that was there, right, about the USS Abraham Lincoln approaching the Iranian waters, so that will also subside. So since also another thing over here, there was a positive news like Trump has recently said like whatever the tariffs that he was supposed to impose on the European nations, he has withdrawn that temporarily. So that is kind of a little boost to the crude market, but the overall sentiment is right now diverted towards the Tri Nations meeting. Yeah. So that's the reason I entered this trade. As soon as I got the notification, I exited my trade in natural gas entirely. I have endured heavy losses. I have endured really. It was a terrible day, but I believe the right now the I believe the January contract is going to close somewhat around 485 to 495. That should be the range for the contract for today's end of by today's end of the day. Yeah, but the contract like the futures will be again open. I think till next Monday, I believe. Then yeah. Yeah, but the February rollover will happen, and I don't think February futures will also sustain at these levels. Although the temperature drop has been actually severe, but compared to last year, it is not. So that is reflecting in the EA report as well. Last year also around the same time there was a temperature drop, and the temperature drop was extreme then. That was an Arctic blast. So this is not Arctic blast. This the present situation is not related to anything related to polar vortex changes. It is just like it is just cold. Okay, it is not having any Arctic blast situation. So this is kind of Arctic blast. If it happens, it lasts for around 7 to 10 days, and the temperatures drop around minus is less than -10, the even the daily high. So that is extremely severe right now. This present situation, I always refer to the Denver situation, the weather conditions in Denver. Denver is having like it's cold, but is the daily highs are approximately around 9-10 Celsius. So that is kind of okay. So I don't think that will be considered as too cold. So that is one of the reasons I was wondering, like, if the temperature in Denver, because I consider a few cities like Denver, Chicago, New York, then a few more. I am not supposed to name all of them now. All right. So that is the reason I was having the short over there, but honestly, it didn't work out. So it was a big disappointment. Anyways, it is already done for the day. Like I can't complain about that. So yeah, coming to coming to crude oil. I was talking about the nations meet, right? So this is going to have a significant impact, I believe, and the targets for crude oil are approximately around 5250. It is going to be a massive drop in crude oil. The EA report for the crude inventories came out that was bearish, but somehow there was a support sentiment coming from the European nations, tariff being paused for the time being. At the same time, the Iran conflict. So these are the two things which were the subject of the interest at that point in time. But considering the present situation, 5250 should be the target right now. I have already, yeah, this should be target in crude around 5255 and 52 this level. Okay, this level should be a target, and I'll be. This is a very risky thing, you know. You're putting for 10-15 lakhs into one call option or put option, and you're a buyer basically, and you're taking the overnight trade. It's actually one of the most riskiest thing that people can do. I have never done that before, so it's the first time because I have to somehow get rid of whatever the losses I have endured in natural gas trade, right? I have to get rid of that. So this seems to be the only possible and best solution for the time being. This is completely like they say, like the proverb, "Tumhare hawale watan saathi hu." So it is that kind of thing. So I am just completely relying on crude oil right now to give me whatever the losses I have endured, just to recover them and to again get back to normal. So yeah, this kind of losses I have not endured in natural gas since a long, long time. When I started trading in natural gas, I was initially enduring some losses, but after having gained some knowledge about the trading in natural gas, I have not. So it happened as a disaster for me. I really, this is a disaster. Yeah. So, anyways, right now we'll be trying to recover whatever the losses that we endured in natural gas through crude oil. So, natural losses would be compensated by crude oil if everything goes fine. I hope so. And the target for crude oil, yeah, I didn't mention the target. The target should be approximately close to. I mentioned the target. Sorry, in terms of the numbers, right? I'll tell you that one also. Thirty-two, 32, 96, 96, and 96, 96 and 5 4. Ninety-six. The target should be close to around because anyways the target won't execute today. Even if I put it right now, it is not going to execute. So there is no point in putting that target. Right now it is kind of again coming retracing a bit, but I definitely expect like it will fall in a straight line. That is the kind of expectation I have right now from crude oil. It will fall in a straight line. So that is what usually happens, like in case there is such a thing happening. The target should be somewhere close to 220. 230 could be a good target. Yeah, 230 around 230. Even if I put this number right, it's not going to execute because I'm going to carry this forward to tomorrow, and tomorrow definitely I'll execute, this will execute. Yeah, so target is close to 230, so that doesn't really recover the entire losses that I have endured today, but still it is still like they say, like it's something better than nothing. So it's that kind of situation. So 230 should be a target. Yeah, 230 is the target for crude. I usually don't show my trades and profit loss, but today was an extreme day. I tried my best to capture natural gas trade, but that didn't work out. Um, Being a seller, it's actually really gets tough. Like when the market it goes against you, and that was the sole reason. Last year, for 395 was the top, 8590 was the top. This year it is 500. So not sure what's the reason. The risk premium is too high, and the year report is too bearish. I saw somewhere like people discussing about the year report, and some people saying, "Oh, it's a positive one for the price action," but I don't think it's positive. It's extremely bearish. All right. So coming to the conclusion here, I'm just executing at a 230. So this is not going to execute today definitely, and it will be done tomorrow. Yeah. So that's the target. And the disclaimer at the end. So none of the analysis and none of the discussions I do here are meant to take action. They are meant for educational purpose. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you're having a great day. Good night.